Hello, everybody. I'm Ricky Smith. Welcome to Faith on Friday Presents. At Faith on Friday Presents, we're all about highlighting inspiring people, engaging topics, and small businesses. And don't forget, while you're here, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. All right, so today is for those writers at heart. You know what it is. You need to write a book. If you're a speaker, you need to write a book. If you're a business owner, you need to have a book so that it builds credibility, so that it makes you be more fabulous than you already are. But to some of us, writing a book sounds like washing the dishes, washing the cars, getting the kids off. Oh, yeah, and root canal. But did you know that you can write a book without writing a word? Today, I'm going to introduce you to somebody who's going to tell us all about the magic of writing a book without writing a word. Everybody, please say hello to Michael DeLon. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Ricky, I am doing great today. Thanks for having me. It's going to be a fun conversation.
I know it is because you told me earlier that we can write a book without writing a word. First of all, Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are.
Yeah. So I am in Little Rock, Arkansas today. This is where I live currently. Background for me, it'll take about two minutes or so. Let me give you the whole background because there's a lot there that you can just run with, okay?
Okay.
Follower of Jesus Christ. Been married since 1990 to my lovely wife, Jill. We have 4 children, 2 biological sons, 2 adopted daughters. And in the 90s, Jill and I got married. First 5 years of our life were like this because Jill and I are complete opposites. And even though we both grew up in church, nobody ever taught us how to be married. So after 5 years of conflict, we went to a family life weekend to remember marriage conference in Indianapolis. And in 3 days, they unpacked and showed us God's blueprints for marriage. I didn't know he had blueprints. So we grabbed the blueprints, we started applying them. Our marriage started getting better through the 90s. During the 90s, Ricky, I was in Christian radio doing marketing and sales, selling Christian radio to business owners, right? And I learned how to do marketing for small business owners back in that day. End of the 90s, God called us out of Christian radio to a startup.com back when Amazon was just getting started. Do you remember William Shatner on the radio doing the world's largest bookstore?
Of course.
I was selling, banner advertising and websites to hospitals and car dealerships who couldn't even say internet. Well, that company was ahead of its time, Ricky. That means they went bankrupt. And so I was standing in my dining room one day looking up going, God, what am I supposed to do now? And he spoke to my heart. He said, Michael, I want you to ministry to marriages. I want you at Family Life, that ministry that changed our marriage. And I said, okay. So I raised support for 2 years as missionaries, moved from Indiana down to Little Rock, Arkansas, joined that ministry to marriages, thought I'd hit nirvana. Ricky, why would I ever do anything else but help people experience God's blueprint for marriage? So I climbed the corporate ladder. 6 years later, I'm on the leadership team of the ministry. And they start going through corporate reorganizations. Well, the third reorganizational chart gets rolled out, and my name's no longer on the leadership team.
Wow.
So they start shuffling me around the ministry to do different things. I called that the beginning of a 2-year prison term when I was at a job I hated at a ministry I loved. So after 2 years, I got fed up. I talked to my wife. I prayed to God. I said, I got to get out of this place. And God said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go help business owners with marketing because they struggle with it. And I love it. And he said, well, go. So on January 1st of 2013, I escaped from prison. And I left the ministry. I started a marketing consulting firm. I come talk with you, Ricky. I say, hey, Ricky, I can help you grow your business. We'd have a great conversation. And you say, Michael, this all sounds good. Who else have you helped? What have you been doing for the last few years? I say, I've been helping build marriages and families at Family Life. And you'd say, Michael, that is honorable. Way to go. Look at the time. I've got another meeting coming up. Can we reschedule and talk some? And you'd usher me right out the door and you wouldn't hire me because I had no credibility. You saw me as a ministry guy, not a marketing guy. So I knew I had to fix it. Went to my church one day. I prayed. I said, God, how do I help Ricky? And he gave me the idea. He says, take all your ideas and put them in a book. So I wrote my first book on marketing back in 2013. Then I'd call you, I'd set an appointment, I'd mail you a copy of my book. I'd walk into your office a week later, and there it was, Ricky. My book was on your desk, dog-eared, highlighted, underlined. You had read my book. Yeah. And in that meeting, you say, now, Michael, in your book, You said, how do you help me do that? And you'd
Mm-hmm.
hire me. And I started gaining clients. And I thought, this is a really good marketing strategy. Why don't business owners do this?
Yeah.
Well, you know how challenging it can be to write a book. So I
Mm.
went and I created a process following what it took me to create my book, eliminated all of the barriers, built a team. And today we work with business owners and experts to help them create a book without writing a word. I teach them how to use their book to gain clients. And
Mm.
that's what I've been doing for the last few years. And I love every minute of it.
Wow, there is so much to unpack in that. Oh my gosh. And a lot of folks watching can relate to a lot of it, especially the first part. Marriage, follower of Christ, marriage was tumultuous. There's a blueprint for this, and then one day it gets better, and so many things. But we're going to get into some of that later. But let's talk about that writing a book
Yeah.
without writing a word. Now, so as a speaker, and a lot of speakers will say this, I have a book that after my speaking engagements, I sell the books and they can take me home with them or whatever. But your book as a marketing strategy for small businesses, that is
Yeah.
huge in and of itself. But in order to have a book, Michael, you have to write a book. How are
It's,
we doing this without writing a word? What sort of
yeah.
witchcraft, sir, are
Well,
you
it's,
peddling?
yeah, it's fun because as a book publisher, right? One of my favorite things to tell a business owner is never write a book. And
Mm,
what I mean by that is instead of writing, you want to speak to write your book. Because a couple of reasons. Number one, you talk a lot faster than you type,
mm,
and you're an expert at what you do. We talk about business all day long.
yeah.
What our process is, we have professional writers who hop on Zoom and we ask great questions and you just talk to our writers. So
Oh,
your book actually is written by you speaking to a writer who then takes your words, we transcribe them, and then the
mhm.
professional writer is doing all the massaging of your words to make your
Okay.
book publishable, but it's your voice, it's your message. We're not
Yeah.
adding content, and
Hmm.
it's not a voice from a ghost writer. It's
Hmm.
your voice because our writer is there. So that's how we help you create a book without writing a word.
I like that you said that because, the difference between ghostwriting and what you're saying, there's a huge gap right there. Would have
Yeah,
never thought of it. So you're saying I can call you and go, Michael, I need to write a book, but I am so not writing a book. And you say, no problem, speak into the mic. And I would just basically start telling you all the brilliance that is in this head and all of a sudden now I have a book because you have a team.
absolutely. 100%. It's so
Wow.
simple. We've codified the entire process. And even going back a little bit further, the first step in our whole process, Ricky, is really
Hmm.
helping to create the title and theme of that book because business is challenging. I don't care what you do, there's competition. And you
Hmm.
need to find a way to position yourself differently from everybody else. And so I've got a whole process I work our clients through to
Right.
discover that unique story that becomes the theme of their book. I mean, your book's right there, Faith on
Wow.
Friday. There's a theme there. That's
Hmm.
the most important part of our entire process. Because once you have that, now we
Hmm.
can work you through the outline process and the speaking process and the publishing. But without a
Wow.
solid theme that positions you differently, you end up
Hmm.
still sounding like Charlie Brown's teacher, who now has a book. No, we want to make
I
you
love it.
different.
Yeah. But isn't having a book in and of itself kind of sets you a step or two above others doing what it is that you do?
Only if you really know what to do with your book, because I've met a lot
That's
of business
good.
people who have a book,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what their book does, Ricky? And I know you do
Mm-hmm.
more with yours than I'm going to say, but their book sits right there. Or
Yeah.
worse, it sits in the corner in a box because they're not marketers. They don't know
Yeah.
what to do with the book, and they're still under that um persona of, well, it feels awkward to hand out, here's my book. I no
Mm-hmm.
no 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 no. Your book is full of great information. So
That's so good.
understanding what to do with your book is where the
Mm-hmm.
money is made in business as being an
I
author.
like that. That is so good because so many people, like you said, you publish a book, they send you a box of 50 or 100, whatever you order, and there it sits in the corner, waiting for the people to line up at your front door to get your book. Or you have two or three in your car in hopes that somebody will randomly see it and go, "Oh, is that your book? Can I have one?" You know,
Yeah.
or worse yet, you end up giving away more than you sell and no clients come out of it.
Yeah.
And
All of it.
that could be tough.
Well, it
You
can be. And that's so when we first started our company back in 2013, the first 4 or 5 years I'd publish books and
hmm
we didn't have any marketing to back it up. And my
Right.
clients would come to me and they say, Michael, my book's on Amazon. It looks great. What do I do with it? So that's
hmm
when I started building marketing systems that we teach and give to our clients to go, here's how you use it on your website. Here's how you use it at a BNI networking group. Here's how you build
hmm
centers of influence.
Wow.
Here's how you get referrals. Here's how you get speaking events. What do you want to do with your book? Here's how you do it. And we give these systems and strategies because, Ricky, I don't think I told you this. My
Mm.
program, because I know it works when it's structured, we back up our program with a 2-year double your money back guarantee because
Wait,
I
wait.
know it.
Say that again for the folks in the back, Michael. What now?
We back up our program with a 2-year double your money back guarantee because I
Holy
know
cow.
this works for a business
hmm
owner. You do what I tell you to do with your book. It's not rocket science. It's
hmm
consistency over time. It's going to position you very uniquely and you're going to gain clients and referrals using
hmm
your book. It's going to grow your business. I know it works. That's why we stand behind it that way.
My gosh, there are so many people watching right now who have a book burning in their hearts. And there are some watching who have written their books.
Absolutely.
And there it sits.
Yes. And
There it
for
sits.
those people, call me because I've got a coaching program that I run. I will teach you how to use the book you already have. That's no big deal.
Wow. Because that was going to be my next question. Does it have to be a brand new book? Does it have to be something just recently written? Or can this be the book that I wrote in 1993 that still has relevant, phenomenal information? Can I use that too?
Most likely, yes, right? We would talk
Mm-hmm.
about it. At the minimum, it could be like my book, which is the revised and updated version, right? So we could
Mm-hmm.
do a quick revision update for the new century or new year, and now you're off to the races. That's really easy. But
Oh,
absolutely,
wow.
if your book is evergreen content and it's
Mm-hmm.
relevant to who you are and what your audience is struggling with,
Yeah.
absolutely it can work.
Oh my gosh. Michael, who is this for? Because you said business owners. What about the poet who has this burning desire to read poetry upon the stages of whatever? Who's this for?
Yeah, primarily business owners because I'm not a low ticket item. Okay. It's going to take an investment as a
Mm-hmm.
business owner. That's why I put the double your money back guarantee on it. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is not for fiction writers. It's not for somebody who just has this desire to, yeah, put my poetry out. This is for a serious business owner who are growth oriented and who have usually we work with people whose average client value is
Mm-hmm.
around $4,000 or $5,000 per client. So
Gotcha.
financial advisors, attorneys, speakers. I did one with for a home inspector actually, because home
Okay.
inspection, that's a really competitive field. I didn't realize
Mm-hmm.
it until he came to me, and we took his story and created a very compelling positioning for him because of his
Mm-hmm.
background. And he
Mm-hmm.
uses this to go out to realtors' offices and get
Wow.
because that's his key referral source,
Mm-hmm.
and we made him America's home inspection referee because of he referees high school football on the weekends. We
Okay.
connected his story, but business owners is who we work with primarily because we know the value of business and how to get you a return
Yeah.
on this marketing investment year
Mm-hmm.
after year after year.
My gosh. Michael, I'm going to ask you this, and I don't know if you're willing to give it away, but can you give us three tips for business owners who have books already that they can probably put into practice right now?
Sure. So
Okay.
number one, it better be on your website. Here's what I tell people to do on your website. Get a free copy of my book.
hmm
Go to the website, download a email only, get a free PDF copy of my book.
Okay.
Number one, because you want to build your list. Your database in business is your number one asset. So
Yeah.
I want to be able to market to you long term. In order to do that, I need your email address. So
Okay.
email address gets a free copy of my book. Then it goes to a thank you page immediately, where I've got a video there saying thank you for requesting a free copy of my book. It's going to be in your inbox in just a couple of minutes, full of great information. What we find is a lot of people really like to have the physical copy of the book. I'm happy to mail that to you for free. Tell me where to put it in the mail. Give me your information.
Wow.
I will mail you a free copy of my book. So, and then I get what we found is about 50% of the people who opt in for the ebook give us all of their mailing address, their
Sure.
cell phone number. Then I've got a whole process of how to mail your book out so it becomes an experience and say, hey,
Wow.
when the book arrives, it's going to be in a big gold envelope. Look for when you walk to the mailbox and you see the big gold envelope, that's the book. So it's building anticipation because I'm
Love that.
separating myself. That's one strategy. How about, do you like referrals? Everybody likes referrals, right? So let's say let's say you're an estate planning attorney. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You finish the plan, everybody's happy. And I would say, Ricky, would you do me a favor? You're going to say yes because you're happy with me.
Sure.
And I'm going to say, Ricky, you don't know this, but most of our clients don't come through all the advertising and marketing we do. They come through the recommendations of our happy clients.
Oh, I like
It would
that.
mean a lot to me, Ricky, if you would take just 3 or 4 copies of my book, and in the next 3 or 4 weeks, as you're talking with your friends about how we've helped set up you and your family with this trust, would you just take a copy of my book and say, well, this is the attorney we trusted. You should read their book. Would you do
Hmm.
that for me, Ricky?
Wow. Of
Now,
course I will.
here's what I've done. I've planted in your mind who I want you to think about giving it to, when you're going to be talking about this, because after about a month, you're not talking about your estate plan with anybody.
Sure.
And number 3, I've given you a little script. Now, how much more fun is it for me to say versus, all right, so I have a choice as that client.
Right.
Here's the business card of my attorney who did my estate. Or I went to the guy who wrote the book on it. You should,
I love it.
okay?
Wow.
So talk about expanding your sphere of referrals from happy clients. Use your book to do that.
Oh, that's
And
good.
then obviously like BNI groups, or a lot of people do networking groups. Instead of doing your dog and pony show about who you are, stand up with your book, your best business card on earth. And
Mm.
my book has 31 chapters.
Mhm.
I have something to say for 31 weeks in a row, and then I just repeat over and over. So you just stand up and you're always saying, hey, I'm Michael DeLon. I'm founder of Paperback Expert. and help you create a book without writing a word. And I've got a little business card that goes there. But if you like to have a free copy of my book, just come get me after the thing. I'm happy to give you a free copy.
Wow.
I want
That's
my book
great.
to be everywhere. I want to be
Mhm.
the resource in marketing that you think of and that you tell other
Wow.
people about.
Wow.
There's at least 3 tips.
There's way more than 3 tips in there. And to include, give the book away for free as your best business card. Because, as a speaker, we have taught and teach people, what's your elevator pitch? Get your story together. You just said, my story is in the book, read it.
100%.
And you've also said you are now seen as an expert. I like when you said, here's my business card, or I went to the guy that wrote the book on it.
Yeah.
How much more cool is that? Oh my God, the expert.
Okay. So let's take this for speakers. Okay. And,
Okay.
and there are different philosophies. Here's how
Hmm.
I would do it. If I were a speaker and I was coming into a room and there was, let's say, 150 people in the room. You
Okay.
don't know who they are. You don't have any of their information, but they're your potential audience. You can
Hmm.
have your book in the back and you can sell your book for $10 and you might get a few sales. Yippee skippy.
Sure.
How about on your slides that you're showing, you have a
Hmm.
QR code on the slide that says, get a free copy of my book right now. It's the free PDF that everybody in the audience can get. Now, everybody in that audience is on your email list. Now you can follow up and market to them.
Wow. That right there, y'all, is worth the price of admission. Michael, there is so much great information here and so much more to dig into. If somebody wanted to reach out to you or really further this conversation, where's the best place for them to reach you?
Paperbackexpert.com. So that is our website. And when you go to paperbackexpert.com, that is the hub of all things Michael. There's a credibility calculator there. You can take that quiz, and in under 5 minutes, I'll give you a score of how credible are you in the eyes of your audience. And then I'll teach you
Wow.
how to increase that. It's absolutely free. It's a big red line at the top of the page. There are videos there. There are free trainings there. Obviously, a way to schedule a call with me if you want to, but look at paperbackexpert.com. Spend some time there to understand who we are, how we can help position you as the expert in the eyes of your audience. And when the time's right, reach out and schedule a call with me. But
Mhm.
mine that site for all it's worth, because there is a lot of information there that can really help you and take you to that next level. Paperbackexpert.com.
Wow. If y'all didn't get that, don't worry. All of his contact information will be in the description below. And don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, and like our Facebook page. Michael, my friend, before I let you go, we have to play a game.
Woohoo!
All right. So this game is really simple. It's called This or That. I'm going to give you the choice of a couple things, and you just tell me which one you like the best. Are you ready to play, sir?
I am ready to go.
All right, let's do this. All right. Red light. Stop or slow down.
Oh, red light's got to be stop. I've got 2 girls who are going to be driving soon.
Okay, I like it. Reality TV. Yes, please, or I just can't.
I just can't.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Ah, okay. Decaf or leaded? Which one?
Fully loaded.
See, I can't handle the coffee. It makes my stomach hurt. It's the caffeine. Eh.
I love
Oh,
it.
yeah. And besides, I think it tastes like vomit, but that's just me. All right. Read the book or see the movie?
Read the book.
You know, why am I not surprised about that?
You
Oh,
know,
no,
the books are
really.
always better.
Yeah, I think so too, but I do both. I need to
Oh, I do
see the
both too,
story.
especially for time constraints, like Lord of the Rings. Watch the movies, but the books are phenomenal.
So good. And I'm a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings, but I love it so much. Okay. Let's see. Fight, flight, or freeze.
Well, that's a good one. Depends on the context. I'm going to here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose freeze, but I'm going to put a spin on it because it's going to be
Okay.
the freeze as far as pausing. The freeze is the pause before my response. And especially in my marriage and with my daughters, I'm learning to
Mm,
pause before I speak. And
yeah,
sometimes I don't speak at all. Sometimes I've learned just to freeze and bite my tongue. So I'm going to choose freeze there for those reasons.
I like that. So what you're saying is the better part of valor is to just pause.
100%.
I like it. And finally, Michael, what is the best advice you've ever given?
To be yourself. I think in business we pose and we present ourselves like somebody we really aren't because we think our audience and our peers need us to be something else. And when we
Mm,
can break through that and go, no, this is me. And if you like me, let's have a conversation. But if you don't like me, go away, and that's okay. That freed me up a few years ago. And I think when people are themselves, they show up
yeah.
like you do, Ricky, genuine and authentic, and it bonds us together.